When you're ready to begin laying out your website in Photoshop, you should start by opening up the photograph that you plan to use as the main background image, as well as the texture that you've found on stockvault.net that complements the picture that you're going to use. When you're ready, go to the File, New menu to get the dialog box for a new picture. Now we want to set the width to be 10/28. Remember, we're working as if this is going to create the website. So the height should be 768. All of the other settings that are here as default are fine the way they are. So just click OK to continue. Now you have a nice clean white palette to work with to create your website layout. So what I need to do is select a background color that I want to work with. Now since I've decided to make my website about Aggieland, I want my background to match the Texas A&M colors. So what I'm going to do is look up the official color code for Aggie Maroon. Now it's pretty easy when you're working with most universities because they all tend to have some sort of brand or style guide that tells you the official colors. So in this case, for websites for Aggie Maroon, the hexadecimal color is 5 and then 5 zeros. So that's what I'm going to do to make my background color match. Here in Photoshop, I'm going to select the Paint Bucket tool so that I can fill in this entire background with the color that I want. To change the color, I simply select the color picker, and then I can come down here to where the pound or the sharp sign is and type in that hexadecimal code that I got from the A&M website. And then I just click, and automatically the background is filled in with the color that I want. The next step is to place my picture here and get it resized to the dimensions that I've set for the assignment. So I'm going to select my photograph. Now if you're working on a PC, you can select Control-A, or on a Mac, Command-A, and this will select the entire image in Photoshop. Then I can go to Edit, Copy, click on the photograph I'm working on, or the image I'm working on, and go to Edit, Paste. Now it's going to warn me that the different default settings don't match. So I'm going to go ahead and tell it OK. Now you can tell that my picture takes up the entire canvas space, and that's not what I want. I need to resize it. So I'm going to come up here to Edit, Transform, and then Scale. I'm going to hold down the Shift key and drag until I get the dimensions close to what I wanted. Now in my instructions for the assignment, I said that it needed to be 944 by 705. So I'm going to select and drag until the dimensions are pretty close to what I suggested. Then I can select the Move tool again and tell it to apply the change. Now here, I need to make sure that my picture is centered. So over here on my Layers palette, I'm going to hold down the Shift key and select the background so that both layers are now selected. Now I need to come up to Layer, Align, and I want to align them vertically center. I can repeat that and go to Layer, Align, and you can see just slightly cut off is horizontal center. And now my photograph is perfectly centered with my background color. So the next step is to insert the texture that I selected. So I'm going to click on this, and again, Command-A to select it all. Now you can go to Edit, Copy, or Command-C or Control-C on a PC. Come over to my workspace and go to Edit, Paste, or Command-V or Control-V. I'll get the same warning about my profiles not matching, and I'll tell it OK. So with the Move tool selected, I can go ahead and drag the texture layer to kind of where I think I want to put it in my menu. Now I could have just as easily set it to the right, but since it's darker over here and I selected a texture that's very reminiscent of the rusty railroad track, I wanted to set it opposite of the track that you can see the best. So again, this time I said that the dimensions should be 193 by 358. So I'm going to come up here to Edit, transform, and scale. As always, holding down the Shift key to maintain aspect ratio, I'm going to click and drag. So I said 193 by 358. 192 by 357 is close enough, so I'm going to release it, hit the Move tool, and tell it to apply the change. Now remember in class I talked about opacity. So with this layer selected, I'm going to select the opacity drop down and change it to about 67%. So you can kind of see through it just a little bit. Click away from the box and the setting is saved. Now this is a very good time for you to save the work that you've been doing. So I'm going to make sure that I'm in my documents, that root folder I created, the source folder, and then select the name or type in the name and hit save. And then I can, in my case, hit replace. And now the image is saved in my source folder. So now it's time for me to start adding text layers. Go ahead and select the type tool and just place my cursor on the screen. I can change the settings at any time that I want in the future. So now it's set. I have the blinking cursor and I can start typing. I'm going to go ahead and type Aggieland. Now I'm going to select it and come over here to my character palette. And remember, if you don't see the character palette, you can get to it from Window and then select Character. And this is where I can select any of the different fonts that I have on my computer to create my page. Now this is looking a little bit different than what you saw in class because I'm creating this from scratch again with you so that you can see step by step how to complete the assignment. I can pick from any of the different fonts that I have. So I'm just going to select this one right here. Now you can see from my settings that it was italicized and this is bold. I'm going to go ahead and leave it bold, and I want to change my font size so that it's nice and big on the screen. And even 72 points doesn't seem like it's big enough. So I'm going to make it 172. By default, the color of the text matched what I had over here in the color picker. And I'm going to go ahead and leave it as that. Now that's a little bit big, so I'm going to go ahead and bring it down to 148 points. It's a little bit more manageable. Now I'm ready to start adding in the different links that I need for my portfolio. I'm going to click the text tool, place the cursor, and type in template. Now it's using the same settings as the Aggieland text because that's what I just created. And I don't want it to be the same. So I'm going to click on the color picker, and I want it to be white. So I'm going to click over here. But I'm also going to tell you a quick tip. If you want it to be true white, the hexadecimal code for that is 6Fs. So I'm going to tell it OK. And I don't want to use this font for my links. I want something cleaner and more standard like Helvetica. So I'm going to select that from my list. Now you're welcome to use any font that you have on your computer, or you can go to a website such as dafont.com and download fonts to use for this project. Now obviously 148 points is way too large. So I'm going to resize it down to 30 and see how that looks. I'll click on the Move button, and drag it over. Now I can type in my other assignments. There's presentation, e-learning, and the video. Now I want these to be spaced out evenly, so I'm going to place video kind of towards the bottom of the texture. Templates more to the top like I want it to be. I'm going to come over here to my Layers palette and hold down the Shift key to select all of my text layers except for Aggieland. I'm going to come up here to Layer, Align, and I want to align the horizontal center so that they're all centered up, and then come back to Layer. This time I'm going to select Distribute, and I'm going to select vertical centers, and it's going to space those out evenly for me. I'm going to go ahead and save my image again. And now I pretty well have my layout saved out. So now it's time to slice this image up and save it out for the web so that we can edit it in Dreamweaver.